Y'all ready for more accused? This one is about a woman killing her ex-husband. Just before the trial, Val finds out that Jordan is testifying against her as a state witness. She asks Jordan to help her before she's taken inside the courtroom. A few days prior, Val is trying her luck at applying as a driver at a medical facility. She divorced her husband just some time before, and now she's struggling to pay them bills and provide for their kid, Oliver. She used to work as an EMT, but because the ambulance hours are so long, she has to find something that gives her more flexibility so she can look after Oliver. OnlyFans is always hiring. The interviewer thinks Val is overqualified, but she insists she has her own car that she can use for the job. So the interviewer thanks her and promises to call her back for the result. Before they leave, Oliver brags about his drawing of a robot that destroys everything in its path. And Val can't help but think that the robot is her. After that, Val drives her son to her ex-husband's house. Oliver is still young and quite confused why his mother had to move out, and his father got to keep the house. Val tries to keep the conversation short and says that's just how she and her ex-husband decided things to be. When Val rings the doorbell, the new wife named Jordan opens the door. Oliver loves Jordan and keeps talking about her, even when he's with his mother. Jordan looks calm and composed as she asks Val to sign a waiver for Oliver because she wants to take him to an indoor amusement park on Sunday. Val reminds her that she has to notify her ahead of time for things like that, but Jordan says it just came up, and all she needs is Val's permission. Val signs the waiver and asks for her ex-husband, Trey. She asks if Trey is in a good mood because he can be quite difficult to handle when he's angry, but Jordan looks like she doesn't understand Val's comment and insists that Trey is always in a good mood. Cap. Val takes a sculpture and heads to the garage. The sculpture is a wedding gift from their friend Annie, and her pieces are selling well online. So Val wants to sell it, knowing that she'll make a lot of money off of it. But Trey refuses. Val explains that Annie was her friend, and she should have put the sculpture on the list that she gave to the judge before she divorced Trey. She's a broke ass since the divorce, and she badly needs the money. But Trey tells her that if she's struggling, she can just give him full custody of Oliver. But there's no way he'll let her have the sculpture. Images of Trey's abusive behavior keep flashing in her mind, and Val slowly loses the argument. Trey taunts her, saying that she's only one drink closer to being an alcoholic again. Oh, hell no. Trey got a lot of nerve treating her like that, when he looked like a dried-up Beavis. Val leaves the house crying, but Trey pretends he doesn't know the reason why. The loan company keeps on calling Val, but every time the phone rings, she ignores it. She spends her free time participating in an online support group. She reveals that Trey's new wife is perfect and calm, everything that she's not. The conversation is cut short when she realizes that her car is being towed. She calls the loan company and frantically explains why they shouldn't take her car. Later, Val watches as Trey waves goodbye to Oliver and Jordan. When her ex-husband finally goes back inside, she opens the door using a spare key and walks into the house to get the sculpture. However, she changes her mind and suddenly, she's on her way out again. Just before she opens the door, she hears a noise from the garage and decides to check what caused it. She finds Trey unconscious on the floor, so she starts giving him CPR. She continues to try despite the abuse she suffered, and when everything fails, she thinks about calling 911. But she doesn't make the call. Instead, she gets out of the house and heads back to her car. She tries calling Jordan, and when she doesn't pick up, she goes straight to the amusement park. Jordan is surprised when Val shows up unexpectedly, saying that Oliver has something that he has to finish for school and it can't wait. Jordan reminds her that it's Trey's weekend, and she has to call him first to confirm if Val can take Oliver home. Then Jordan makes the phone call, leaving a voicemail that Oliver won't be joining them for dinner. Oliver is disappointed when his mother says it's time to go home because he expects to spend the entire day with Jordan. Later that night, Jordan calls Val to tell her that Trey is dead, and Val pretends that it's all news to her. Jordan reveals that Trey got electrocuted in the garage, and it shocked his heart. Now they both worry about how they're going to tell Oliver his father is dead. Honestly, we all know Val finna celebrate. Not long after that, a police officer named Detective Ross pays Val a visit. Oliver's at school that time, so Val decides to let the officer in so they can talk. Detective Ross starts asking questions about Val's whereabouts on the day that Trey died. Very casually, Val begins to lie and says she's quite busy that day. The detective then asks her if she went somewhere else before picking up Oliver, and Val says she didn't. Then the detective takes out her phone and shows Val a video of her coming out of Trey's house, taken using a neighbor's security camera. Realizing that she's now a suspect in her ex-husband's death, Val explains that she didn't want Oliver to see his father dead, so she picked him up right away. She adds that she didn't call 911 because she worked as an EMT before and tried reviving Trey before leaving. Detective Ross then tells Val that she doesn't have to say anything anymore and can get a lawyer to represent her. Val unknowingly puts herself in deeper trouble when the officer reminds her that she just lied about her whereabouts. Because Val keeps talking, Detective Ross then invites her to the station. Before she leaves, Val calls Jordan and asks her to pick up Oliver because she's now a suspect in Trey's death. Just before the trial, Marta, the public defender, tells Val that things aren't looking good for her. Not only did she not report Trey's death, but she also broke into his house. Val insists that she panicked and says that she started to have panic attacks because Trey was abusive when they were together, and no one knew about it because he was charming and knew how to talk to people. But Marta asks how it was possible for Trey to get partial custody of Oliver if he was abusive, and Val says she was partly to blame because she didn't talk about Trey's abusive nature. Marta suggests that Val take the plea deal for manslaughter, which can give her a shorter sentence. But Val refuses to lie about killing Trey because she didn't do it and because she doesn't want her son to think she's a murderer. Jordan visits her in prison, saying that Val shouldn't have been at the house that Sunday. So Val says she came over to take back the sculpture, and when she heard the noise, she found Trey already lying dead on the floor. She insists that if she wanted to kill Trey, she would have thought about security cameras. Jordan shares that Oliver is doing well, but because he's a smart kid, he's starting to think that something is going on with his family. Jordan is quick to believe Val's explanation and says she knows that Val didn't kill Trey. After that, Val is convinced that the reason why Jordan knows she's innocent is because Jordan is the one who killed Trey. Val knows that it's the truth, even though Jordan didn't admit it to her. Marta explains that the police already investigated Jordan and that no evidence points to her. Marta tells her that putting the blame on Jordan will only make Val look vindictive. The prosecutor, Patrick, tells the court about Val's reckless financial behavior and her history of alcohol abuse. He says that Val demanded money from Trey, and when he refused, she snapped and killed him. He then calls Jordan as a state witness and asks her how she and Trey first met. So Jordan talks about how people loved Trey and how close he was with his son. The prosecutor presents photos showing that Trey was a good father and husband, but Val is paying close attention and notices that something is sussy with the photo. She quickly tells it to Marta, who then starts to question Jordan. A photo was taken during Oliver's birthday party, which is in August. Oliver and Trey are both wearing shorts, and Jordan is wearing long sleeves despite the heat that month. Jordan tries to avoid the question, but the judge reminds her that she's under oath. So Jordan finally reveals that she was wearing long sleeves to hide the bruises on her arms and neck that she got from Trey. The prosecutor says that Jordan has a right to counsel, and the judge reminds her that she has a right not to incriminate herself. But Jordan has had enough. She reveals that on Sunday, she told Trey to give Val the sculpture she was asking for. Trey refused, and when she insisted, he snapped and choked her until she fainted. Men who do that to women are scum, literal fuglies. When she woke up, Trey wanted to have sex. Jordan then finally reached her limit. Before leaving with Oliver, she turned off the breaker for Trey's welder, switched the live cables, and put the other end on the steel table. She spilled some water on the floor and turned the breaker on again before she and Oliver left. She wasn't sure if Trey would survive, but she thought that if it was his time to go, he would die. She insists that she didn't mean for Val to take the blame, so she wants to tell the world the truth so Val can go home free. Val visits Jordan and finds her baking while she's out on bail. She wonders how Jordan can always stay so calm, so Jordan says she's faking it till she makes it. She admits she knew that Trey was getting worse, and even though he never hurt Oliver, she believed that one day Trey would snap and kill them all. Now Val is worried because she knows that Oliver loves Jordan, and she might end up in prison. Jordan says that her lawyer would argue that choking causes some brain damage, and when she killed Trey, she was deranged. Val goes home, looking for ways to help Jordan with her case. Oliver is making a new drawing, and when Val asks for it, the boy says he wants to give it to Jordan. Knowing how much Oliver loves Jordan, Val decides to tell her plan to Marta. Marta warns her that her plan is risky and advises her against it. But Val talks to Patrick and says that she could stand as a witness for Jordan and testify about Trey's abusive behavior. Then she would confess to the crime. But because she was tried before for the same crime, the court couldn't go after her because that would be double jeopardy. Patrick warns Val about her plan, saying that he can just hand the case to a colleague and testify against Val in court. But Val is determined to help Jordan, so she refuses to give up. Soon enough, when everything is over, both women are finally free. Val realizes Jordan's importance in their lives and starts to consider her not as a friend but as family. What a great ending. That was honestly some great justice. But a man like Trey deserves some real punishment for his crimes against women. What did you guys think about this one?
Subscribe to watch more videos like this. Turn on notifications. And leave a like, it really helps the channel out. Thank you for watching.